Hi, it's me again, Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and today I'm going to do the handover on the Adria Compact Supreme SP. So starting we'll walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first. Your central locking door, so you can open it or you can lock it and it locks the habitation door as well, or you can use the little key which all the garage and other lockers use to manually unlock the door should you wish, but you probably never need to use that, only if the key battery was to die. At the back you've got your garage, so you've got storage, and you've got the storage rings here to tie your loads down. You'll notice you've got your carpets, your water pump in there, your on and winding handles in this box, and you've got your toolkit which includes a jack and a brace and a tone eye. You've got lights up here, so there's just a little nib on the side of the light there which turns the lights on, and you'll notice you've got two USBs, a 12 volt and a mains 3-pin plug when hooked up. This little isolation switch here is to isolate the heater, so if you didn't want it heated in the summer but you did in the winter, you just turn it up and you turn it back down to turn the heating vent off, which is drawn from the main heater on board. In the little cupboard here you've got your water pump, and then you've got 3 lines here, so you've got 3 little grey levers. If you open them up when you winterize, it'll just drain any water that's left in the lines to stop the water from freezing in the plastic pipes around the vehicle. Coming to the back of the vehicle, this bike rack is a optional extra that this customer who's buying this exact van has put on. So you've got the 2 rails, put your bikes on there, tie your wheels down, and then these for your crossbars, so your first bike and your second bike. And then what I would advise is that you put some sort of security around your bikes, i.e. your bike lock, and tie it to the van. Got your high level brake light and your reverse camera, and then on the bottom you've got your parking sensors. If you have a look on the passenger side of the van, so you've got your smaller door which is your access to your garage, but you'll notice just underneath you've got your waste water tap, so this is anything you've put down the plug hole. So normally what you do is on the way out of a site you'd call out the motorhome service bay and drop your grey water. To drop it, you use this big handle here. You can see it says open, closed. If you slide it there, you'll notice that the water starts draining out of there. So slide to the right to open, push it to the left, away from you to close. But what I would do is once you've drained it off, I'd leave that open just ajar, and when you're travelling it'll wiggle any water in the tank out, so when you arrive back at your storage site or at home where you park the van, the wastewater tank is completely empty. LPG, liquid petroleum gas, this is your gas locker, and takes propane bottles. This is our test bottle that's on the van at the moment. So when you get your bottle in on board, you'll notice you've got straps here, so you'd strap the bottle in for security when travelling. To connect the pigtail, it's opposite threads with gas, so it's left hand to tighten, right to loosen. Then you'll need a gas spanner or an adjustable wrench and just nip that up, and then you turn on and off from the top of the bottle. And then there's a crash sensor, so if the crash sensor does go off, this little yellow tab will pop out. You just need to push it in and make sure it's pushed flat on the regulator, and then that will allow gas inside the vehicle. And you can carry a spare bottle as well, so there's room for 2 bottles. Water filler, so this is where you'd fill up with fresh water, so go and buy yourself a hose pipe and some hose pipe ends, because it's normally just a brass cap on most sites. Put your hose pipe into there, wait until it either overflows or until you're happy you've got enough water on board, which you can see on the panel. It will go up in increments of how much water is on board. If you can't get a hose pipe to the vehicle, the pump in the back is used to go into an aqua roll or container or bucket of water, so you can bring the water to the vehicle. You'd connect it by the 2 12 volt pins in here, and then put the other end into the hose pipe end into the water filler, and it'll suck the water out and into the main tank. So that's if you don't want to move the vehicle or you can't get a hose pipe near the vehicle. Here you've got your cassette loo, so your chemical loo. So to get it out, you need to ensure that the blade is in the closed position. Once it's in the closed position, you'll be able to lift this orange handle and slide the cassette out. Once you've got the cassette out and it's full, it's quite heavy. So you've got some wheels, so you can drag it to your waste disposal point, which is normally behind or beside your toilet block. Then what you would do is to empty, you'd remove the grey cap, put that out of the way for the minute, press the button and tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there. If you fill it with water from here, put a bit of water in, put the grey cap back on, give it a rinse, tip out again. Then if you're using the chemical in the liquid form, this is a 120ml cap, fill it and pop it into here, and then it's good to go because it's got the chemical in, so it'll break everything down once it's inside the vehicle. If you're using the tablets, put the cassette in completely dry, open the blade, which is the grey lever on the bottom bowl of the toilet, which I'll show you when inside, flush a pint of water into the cassette, followed by a tablet in the sachet form. This can either be the blue or the green, and this will break down the liquid, but the tablets are just easier to store. You've got your vent here, so this indicates where the boiler is located on the vehicle, so it'll be located underneath the dinette seat. So this just allows all the nasties out from the heater, and then you do have your mains connectivity point. So to hook the vehicle up, you get your hooker blade, lift the collar, slide on, hook the vehicle up first, then the power source, and do it in reverse when unhooking the vehicle, as we wouldn't want you walking around with a live blade should it be wet. At the passenger door is where you'll find the location for your diesel filler, which opens with the main ignition key, so it's a lockable diesel cap. And then underneath, because it's a new Euro 6D compliant diesel engine, it's got AdBlue. So from a full tank of AdBlue you'll get 5,500 miles, and it's a 19-litre tank. So when the light does come on, it's between the temperature and the fuel gauge. When it comes on, if you just pull into a petrol station, you can buy it on the pump now, or you can buy it in the 10-litre containers. Fill it up. If you didn't fill it up, what will happen is the vehicle would go into limp mode if it got too low, or if it went completely dry of AdBlue, the engine won't start to protect it, and you'd have to get fade out to recover you. So just always make sure when the light comes on, the best thing to do is to top it up. Tyre pressures on here, so you've got 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi all round. You'll notice this little red key here, this is your battery isolation switch, so if you're putting it in the storage yard over the winter, or you were putting it on the drive and you weren't using it, you can just turn it off and that will isolate the 12 volts so there's not a power drain. The leisure battery lives underneath the passenger seat, where you've got your main battery fuse, your 50 amp. Engine battery's underneath the carb floor, so if you ever need to get that out in 10 years time to change the battery, you just lift that out. And then the bonnet release is on the side of the dashboard on the passenger side. We'll have a quick look underneath the hood. You've got all your liquids to the left hand side, so you've got your screen wash, this lifts off, and you've got your power steering fluid and your radiator coolant. Then you have your brake fluid, which is DOT 4. Oil top up, so your oil filler where you top the oil up. Oil dipstick for checking your levels. Your paint code for the Grigio aluminium's on this sticker here, so 611. You've got your earth there for giving or receiving a jump start, and then behind the passenger headlight, if you just lift this cover here, you've got your positive, which is there. And then finally, phase 2 sticker, go off this now because it's a motorhome, it's our chassis cab, 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight. If you put a tow bar on, you can tow up to 5.5 ton, which is a combined weight of the motorhome and whatever you're towing, and then you've got your front and back axle weights. So now we're inside the vehicle. Above the habitation door is your main control panel, so it's a flush panel, so you just touch it to come on and off, which is here, which is this master switch, which will either turn on 12 volt if you're not hooked up, or 240 volt if you are hooked up, and you'll see this little indication of a hooker bleed, which means you're hooked up, and then you can plug your kettle in and things and they'll work. You've got your light bulb here, which is your interior lights master switch, and then they all are switched around the vans the various lights. You've got your awning light, which is a light on the outside of the van. If you're sitting underneath the awning or you're leaving it and you want to come back in the dark, you'll spot your van. Here you have the tap, which is the pump. So if you want a pressurized flow of water, you've got to have the pump on, otherwise you'll get whatever in the lines and it will just drain out. And then across the top you've got B1, which is the truck, the fade battery. B2, which looks like a trailer, which is the leisure battery reading. Then you've got an A with a plus and a minus on, which shows you the ampage currently coming off the battery, which we are on hookup and we're running a few items, so it's saying it's 10.5 volts coming off at the moment. And then down below you've got your fresh water readings of 50% and your waste water reading of 0, because like you've seen, I've emptied it from outside. So to work your Truma digital CP control panel, to turn on and off you just press and hold. This is kind of like the standby screen, and then to access the main menu you would just press enter. So first of all, in the top left you've got a motorhome with a thermometer on. This is how hot you want the inside of the motorhome to be. Obviously in the summer you'll probably have it off, and then you can have it all the way up to 30 degrees maximum. Once you're happy with the temperature set, you would just press enter. So 26, enter. That will then heat the vehicle to 26 degrees. Moving to the left, you've got a thermometer in water, which is hot water. Obviously if you haven't got any water on board, have it off, because it's just like boiling a kettle without any water in. You're going to burn the element out and cause some serious damage. You've got eco, which is 40 degrees of heating your water, and you've got hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your water. So normally you'd have eco for showering and hot for doing your dishes, and then scroll on again you've got boost, which will turn off your heating and prioritize your water first to get it to temperature. For this we'll just say hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your hot water, which you only have 10 litres of at any one time. And then you've got a gas bottle and some electricity sign. So this is what source you're going to be using to heat the vehicle or the water. So if you are wild camping, you'd be using gas on its own because you'd have no other source available. You've got mix 1, which is 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. You've got mixture 2, which is 2 kilowatts of electric and gas. You'd use this in the winter if you're away in the colder climate and you wanted to heat the vehicle far quicker, or the water. Using mix 2 should heat the vehicle or the water a lot quicker than using just electric, because you're using both sources together on the higher output. And then you've got electric on 1 kilowatt, which you'd use on smaller CL sites or abroad, depending on what amperage you get through your hookup lead. And then you've got electric on 2 kilowatts, which you'd use on most camping and caravanning clubs throughout the UK. Just please remember, if you're running any other high voltage equipment like a kettle or a microwave or anything in the garage, this may trip the vehicle out and you may have to turn it down to electric on 1 so everything will run together. In the top right hand corner you've got the fan, so you can have it on eco or high. This is a 12 volt assisted fan, and eco is a lot quieter on an evening and it'll take a smaller feed from the 12 volt leisure battery. Down in the bottom left hand corner you've got a timer, so you can time it to come on and off just to one store. You've got the clock displayed on the main control panel, and then you've got a spanner in the bottom corner. So if this failed and come up with the exclamation mark, you can go to the spanner, you can go to reset, click preset. It will restart this control panel and you'll have to go in and set the temperature, the water, the energy source and the fan speed all again. And then to turn off you just press and hold and it'll turn the control panel off. So in the kitchen area you've got 3 gas rings for cooking. So once you've had these on for any length of time, if you allow them to cool down before you put the hood down, and then above you've got a 3-pin plug for your kettle, an extractor fan when cooking, a light for the surround on the window, and then you've got the main light on the front. Above you've got two cupboards which are on gas struts, so you just pop them in by pushing them down, and then should you have your pump on, you'll get pressurised water, and that water is getting lovely and warm there as we've had your hot water system on. And then underneath, Dometic Fridge. So this fridge is a 12 volt compression fridge, so it'll work when you're wild camping on just the leisure battery or you're hooked up. So to turn on, you just press and hold, and there it's gone off. Press and hold again and it'll come back on. You've got three modes. So you've got performance, which will mean it'll work to its full advantage. You've got quiet, which will turn the decibels of the fridge down by reducing the performance of the fridge, so that's good for when you're sleeping. And then you've got boost, which will obviously again give it that little boost a little bit better than performance. So to change, you just press mode. So normally if you're keeping this at home, you'd put the fridge on a day or two before, put your shopping in the night before and allow it all to chill. So you may want to have it on performance when it's parked on the drive, and then when you're using it you might want to have it on quiet, so it's a little bit quieter. And then you've got your temperature underneath. So normally you'd have it on full temperature when pre-chilling, and then once you put your shopping in, just turn it down to 3 or 4, just so it keeps it nice and fresh but it doesn't chill the shopping. And if you've got any veg in there, sometimes on 5 it'll damage the veg by chilling it too much. When winterising, or you're not using the van for a couple of weeks, it's very important that you clean the fridge out and then you leave the door ajar slightly. So you just rest the door like so and allow air circulation in and out. And then on the front here you've got these two grey toggles pushing it to the left, locks it when travelling, pulling it to the right, puts it into the open position, so you can just go for the door and it will open the fridge door. At the back of the compact SP you've got a fixed bed, so double bed. This section here is designed for when you are cooking, this board, that nothing goes onto the mattress and the bedding. So if you lift the mattress up, what you can do is you can fold this down, and you've got ladders to get in, so you've got 3 steps. So a little press stud on there, then the steps will fold down and you'll be able to get up into the bed. And at the back you've got storage. This skylight winds, so you can wind it open and closed, and then if you look at the far side there'll be a little red dot that comes up in the inspection panel, and the red shows that the roof is closed. If it wasn't red, then it's not closed, you'll have to keep winding. And then you do have a fly screen and a blackout blind, and then 2 individually switched reading lights, so you get the white around the button, which is night light. Press again and you get the main bezel on, and it's the same for the other one. You'll also notice just on this side of me you've got a TV bracket which you can put your telly on. Pull this down, it'll release it from its lock and you'll be able to slide it out, and then you'll be able to turn it round into the front, and you've got your telly points. But that's only if you've had a TV aerial fitted to the vehicles, because the Adrias don't come with a TV aerial from the factory, so your dealer would have to put that on. You've got your rocker switch here which dims all the lights above. You can have it on or off, and you'll see that the compact sign lights up in the cab. Press and hold and it'll dim that down if the lights are too bright on a night for you. And then coming into the washroom, so you've got your washroom here which is in the main position. If you want it in the showering position, put your hand behind, give it a pull as it's on a strong magnet, and there the toilet's covered so nothing's going to get wet. You put your shower head there. When winterizing, it's very important that you leave all the mixer taps throughout the vehicle open. You'd have the fresh and the waste open from outside, and you would remove your shower head. You've got a hanging rail here for your wet towels or coats if you've been caught walking the dog in the rain or out on a walk. Hanging them in here. If they're going to drip, it's just going to be able to be washed and wiped away. And then you've got a skylight, like you can push the button in and open, or put into the little groove here to keep it open on a nice day with no breeze. And you've got a small fly screen. To operate the toilet, so make sure the pump's on and you'll be able to push the blue button, which is your electric freshwater flush. Flush the toilet first, then what you can do is you can either use it as it is or you can open the blade, but it's very important that you do open the blade slightly, so you can just slide it a little bit so the hatch on the blade is open, so it will just drain into the cassette. Flushing it first lubricates that blade and the seal on it to stop it from sticking. Use the toilet and then you'd flush after use. If you're going to use any bowl cleaners, you can just spray it and then flush it at the same time, like the pink stuff, and then slide to the left, which isolates it and means that you can get it out the outside of the van should you need to empty it and top it up with chemical. Concertina doors tied back here for when you are travelling. You'll be able to slide that over and that would lock the bathroom off from the rest of the van. And you've got a toiletry cabinet up here. Underneath the side facing bench seat behind the driver's seat, you have your fuses for your 12-volt appliances. So it would be a good idea to carry some spare fuses just in case one does go. You can just simply pull it out and put a new one in. You've got some storage in here as well, and then if behind here you've got your main trips on electric, so if your kettle or hairdryer trips the vehicle out, you can try your RCD in here before you try the sights. And above, obviously this is your wardrobe, so this slides out and you can hang your clothing in here. Storage above and storage in these little pockets in the luton, as it's a low line. And then located underneath the bench seat, like we've said from outside, is your boiler, which holds 10 litres of hot water at any one time. So it's very important in the winter that you drain it off. So this is an anti-frost device, so at 3 degrees it'll automatically drop the water. But don't rely on it, because if you rely on it and it failed, you will have to foot the bill for a new boiler, because it wouldn't be covered under warranty, as it's your responsibility to drain it down. So to drain it down, diamond is pointing from side to side. Make it point to front and back and the button will pop out. This will drain off 10 litres of water directly out underneath the chassis in this position, and leave it in that position throughout the winter months when you're not using the vehicle, so normally from November to March. Leave all the taps open throughout the vehicle. Remove your shower head from your shower tap. Open the waste and the fresh outside. And then when you come to reuse it, shut this, shut all your taps, fill the vehicle with water from a hose pipe. Come in, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first, you'll get automatic cold water. Go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a free flow of water from your hot water system. Then you would just do your bathroom tap, and it shouldn't take any longer than just opening it up, and it should flow through nicely. And all it's doing when it's coughing and spluttering is it's pushing the air out that it's accumulated. So don't be alarmed, just allow it to do its thing until you get a free flow of water from the hot water system. So to make the front bed out the dinette, it's for a small child or an occasional guest. What you need to do is lift the table off, place it down here. So you just fold the leg by pushing the button and it'll go in half. Rest it on, there's like a wooden block here. Rest it on there. Spin the passenger seat and then pull it as close as you can to the table. And then you put the infill cushion and the base cushion from this seat onto here, and it forms that occasional bed should you need it. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver you do have your handbrake, and then on the doors you've got electric windows, power folding mirrors on here, so you can tuck the mirrors in without having to push them in manually. And then you've got your adjustment on your mirrors, so 2 each side, top, bottom, so you just play with them and get them into the right position. The bottom is the blind spot, and if you slide this forward and expose the magnet, you can then slowly pull the blind up and it just clips onto the door there, and that would be how the passenger and driver's door would have been blacked out. And then if you tuck this one up over and just keep playing with it until it goes up. This is the windscreen blind, which is a pull-up, so you will have to adjust the mirror to get it up and over that. Front and rear fog lights and headlight adjustment. Trip computer on the end of the wiper stalk, which will go through your range, your average and instant consumption, your travelling times, your distance travelled, and how many miles you have done. And then if you want to reset it, you just press and hold. Hands free, and this will scroll through your radio, your audio and your contacts. Mute, volume and voice command. Lights, just put them on the auto, which is the bottom one, or you can turn them off or put them on, and you've got your indicators. Cruise control, this is off now. Onto cruise control, brings on the green light in the bottom of the rev count, and you just push up to speed up or pull down to slow down. If you wanted to cancel the cruise control, you can either press the button on the end that says cancel resume and then push it again, it'll resume it, or you can use the foot brake. And then if you go to the bottom, you've got speed limiter, so go up slowly, goes up in ones, push and hold goes up in fives, and you'll see that in the top left hand corner it says limb off and then the speed. As soon as you get going, the limiter will of course come on. 6-speed manual gearbox. Lift the collar into reverse, brings on the reverse camera, and you hear the beep, which is them sensors on the back. Temperature, fan speed, must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work. And then you do have your distribution on the outside ring, and whether you're circulating air within the motorhome or bringing fresh air in. Put your heated mirrors. This of course is the padlock which locks the doors from the inside. Hazards. This turns off your lane assist, which you'll see on the bottom. You've got 2 orange little cars that are going over the lines. That'll let you know when you do go over the lines, so you can turn them off and the cars will disappear, like so. Hill descent control, which is more for automatic than a manual, so this doesn't work at all. And then you do have traction control, so you can turn that on and off. Got a USB for charging and a 12 volt for charging. And then this is a new Fate navigation unit and head unit. So you've got menu, which is the radio, which is either FM, AM or DAB, which you just choose the source here. So on most of you will have it on DAB. You can browse all stations, and then you can scroll up and down and find the station that you want. Once you're happy you've got the station, you can press 1 to 3 and keep going, and you can save 6 of your favourite channels on the presets. Connect your phone by going to phone, phones, add, and you want to find Fate 1868 on your device. It'll ask you for the pin, which is 4 zeros. Press pair on here, pair on your device, and then you will be able to sync your phone, and it'll download your phone book into the head unit, so you'll be able to scroll through your contacts. Media would be USB or Bluetooth audio. These are Apple CarPlay and Android Auto ready, so connecting your phone through here will mirror it onto the screen. So if you're using your iPhone as a sat nav, or you're using Google Maps, that'll be able to come through the head unit. Screen off, just change the screen off when you're on site. If you want the radio on, as soon as you touch the screen it comes back on. But it does have its own built-in sat nav, which is Motorhome Pacific. So you go to navigation, allow it to load. It'll come up with a map of where you are located, like it has now. We're on the A692 on Lobley Hill Road, and we're heading northeast. Click the 3 buttons in the bottom right, go to new route, address. It says Marley Hill, that's the localest town to us. If you clicked on Marley Hill, you can then put in your postcode of where you want to go. So now it's changed to London, or you can just put in our postcode here, put your space in between your first and second verse of the postcode, press go to town. It'll show you an overview, select this destination, and then it'll calculate the route. So it'll bring up how many miles and how many minutes it'll take to get there, and you would start the navigation. You can also go to Decathlon, and you can, it's got your length, width, height in. If you're going to put a trailer on, you just click that on. You can put your actual weight, which is 3.5 ton, and that is all set up around this motorhome within the settings. Turn on and off, you've got home, you've got your volume, and then you do have the shortcuts, so radio, media, phone and navigation.